So those of you who know me will know that I'm a pretty big fan of offset accounts, and in particular, multiple offset accounts. Now, I was speaking with a client today and he wanted to model the numbers to get an idea on whether it was worth it for him to have multiple offset accounts or go with a slightly cheaper lender that only offered a single offset account. So we modeled this and I thought I'd share that with everyone today. So for starters, if you don't know what an offset account is, it's simply an account. It can be transactional, it can be savings account that's linked to your home loan, and any funds held in that offset account reduce the balance on which you're charged interest on. Put very simply, if you've got a $1 million home loan, you've got $100,000 in offset, instead of paying interest on $1 million, you pay interest on $900,000. Now, this can lead to pretty substantial savings over time, and obviously the more money you've got in offset, the greater your savings will be, and it actually snowballs over time because your repayments will generally not change. And so what that means is each month you're chipping away more and more of the principal above your minimum repayments, which means your balance is going down faster, which means your interest cost is decreasing faster, and it can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. So with this client, we modeled out what would a $1 million loan look like with a 5.25% interest rate over 30 years. Now, the scary news first is that if you do nothing, you've got no money in offset, you make no additional repayments, you will pay about $987,000 in interest on that 30-year loan, which means that you will pay back basically $2 million back to the bank for the privilege of borrowing one. So you can understand why, if we can save money on that, it's pretty advantageous because that's a pretty big number. So firstly, we modeled, if you put $100,000 in your offset account, from day one, you did nothing for the rest of the life of the loan, how much would you save in interest over the life of the loan? And in this situation, the savings were about $308,000 in interest. So simply by having $100,000 in offset, which again is easier for some than others, but you're reducing your interest bill by more than $300,000 over the life of the loan. Secondly, we wanted to look at what would happen if you had a little bit more money. So for this client, he would typically have about $20,000 floating around in various transactional accounts, and we wanted to model what that would look like if we bundled that in so that there were multiple offset accounts. So instead of having $100,000 as an average offset balance, you'd now have $120,000 as an average offset balance because it's capturing all of the accounts. And that simple change, by setting up your banking correctly, increased the interest saved from about $308,000 to about $356,000, which means there's almost $50,000 in additional savings over the life of the loan simply by structuring your offset accounts correctly. That's a perfect example of why I'm a big fan of it. If you've got any questions, shoot me a message.